All right, welcome to the AVNI Interviews. We're your hosts, Eric Bork and Mikey Taylor.
What up?
The co-founders of AVNI, a brand for entrepreneurs. Here on the AVNI Interviews, we interview people doing the work they want, the lifestyle they love. And before we get started today, let's just talk more about our academy. We talk about this every week, but this week was a fun week. I went out selling with one of our students. I just keep getting these messages. I closed an account, $1,000. I closed an account, $2,000 video. So our students are doing good. So you can check out, if you want to start your own digital agency, check out avnidigital.com. And I shouldn't say like that's what you're going to make, what the examples I just used, but those were just a couple of examples that came to mind. So today we're going to talk about...
Before we even start,
yeah.
What did it feel like being in the streets again?
Dude, being in this, it felt good, man. Like, to be honest, I went out there, I haven't been in the streets just because I got my...
And when we say in the streets, we mean in the streets
cold
selling.
Calling. Yeah. Cold calling. So yeah, this week, one of our Academy members, Anthony, was like, hey dude, let's go out. I'll film some content of you. And we filmed the whole day, cold calling. And I got my business before me and Mikey partnered up, and we partnered up, and then I got it to the point where we're getting a lot of business, just referrals from leads that are coming to us. So I haven't had the need to be in the streets. But you know, it's one of the best ways to get new clients. So we did it. And it was fun, man. It's like I walked into this one office, I walked in, I looked around, I'm like, I am gonna close you guys so hard. You will pay me money and I will provide you services. And I walked in, it was a plastic surgeon's office. I look around, like I know they don't have a video guy because I've already looked. And everybody has different approaches, right? Mikey kind of gets on me for this one once in a while, which is I like video. I like producing video because I like to do it, right? You can get business by just digital leads only, but I like to go and meet people. And so how did it feel? It was a lot of fun.
Wait, what do I get on you about?
About like, well, okay, here's why. I should explain that. You don't always, when you're providing your agency services, you don't always want to make it like, I go out, I film a video, I get paid for that video, right? This is what we've talked about before.
Yeah.
Like Facebook ads, you can run those for people and literally never meet them and get them clients to go in, and you can scale that a lot faster, right? And then building websites, you know, it's like all done in the office. You don't have to like go out and, you know, film a video. So basically, you and I have talked before about how other components of an agency scale faster, or you should hire someone to do your video, which is what we do now. Sometimes, but I still like doing them. But yeah, it was fun being in the streets. And it's funny, man, because I went out with them and I'll usually get through to like 3 or 4 doctors. We didn't get through to 1 doctor. And we went cold calling to medical offices. And on that note, the reason I like medical offices, this came up this week too, is a lot of entrepreneurs, if you hit them up and you say, I want to do your Facebook ads, they're going to figure out how to do it themselves. So a lot of times if you hit up like small businesses that are entrepreneurs, they're going to do it themselves. Whereas I like the medical field because doctors, they want someone to do it for them, and they have a good, solid, scalable business for themselves. So overall, it was fun. It was like we didn't break through to any doctors, which is so rare. But we did visit a few current clients that were like, oh, we love you. We'll refer you to, you know, these 4 people.
Yeah.
So I think we probably got between $5,000 and $10,000 worth of business that'll come from that day of selling. So let's jump into our topic today, which is kind of a realization that me and Mikey are coming to more and more all the time, which is this vision of the good life, this vision of private jets, Lamborghinis, models, and mansions. So kind of like the realization that I've come to is I don't care how much money I have. That's not my version of the good life. And it's funny because I've seen you at the height of your skate career, driving a
94 Civic hatchback.
94 Civic hatchback.
But I know I gotta stop you though,
okay.
Because there is a point that we talk about all the time that we've never talked really on here. It's not only that that's not our lifestyle, but it's that that's a tool that people are using to sell product.
Yes.
Right? So now that we're selling product in this arena, call it, we're going through like selling it. And you're seeing what everyone's doing and it's working.
Yes.
That's the worst part about it, is like you put a Ferrari and a jet in front of selling a product and people think, holy shit, if I buy that product, like this dude's 19, he's flying in a private jet, he's gotta be good at it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of the challenges that we've been having is that like we don't wanna do that because it's not us, and then which led to a conversation that we've been having about like, what's valuable for our lives? Like what is the lifestyle that we wanna portray? And really the answer is our lifestyle, like just being authentic to who we are.
But for sure, 100% agreed. But at the same time, what's been like almost like us figuring out is, if everybody's doing that, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And we've evolved into it, and like we have a solid direction. But it's kind of establishing like what is our direction, which we know what it is. We just haven't really talked about it.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you were a pro skateboarder forever, and you know the other night you were like, maybe like 2 weeks ago, you're like, what do you think people know me as? I can't remember the context, but I was like, oh, you're the guy that sold St. Archer, and you're like, no, I'm not. And I was like, I think you are, and you're like, no, people see me as like the fun guy. Like I was always having fun. That's what I was doing. And I was like, oh, you're right. That is like Mikey days. Dude, Mikey days was one of the coolest things in skateboarding. It really was. So anyways, talking about, why you have a blank face right now?
There's comes soaking it in.
Reminiscing. Like, oh, did I say the wrong thing?
Reminiscing of the good old days.
Yeah, okay. So anyways, we want to talk about our version of the good life and what that means. And I want to start the conversation. I kind of had a story. I read a book this week that really kind of put things into perspective of what is going on. And I will say, you're seeing more and more and more people posting like, all this stuff is fake. All this stuff is fake. And there's kind of this general consensus right now of like, everybody's flaunting, but like you see Gerard Adams, you see Gary Vee posting like, I mean, Gary Vee's very vocal about it. He's like, all these fools are going to be working at Chase in 18 months and they're going to have to give back their Lambos and they're all going to be broke.
Does he say that?
Oh yeah. I mean, but Gary goes at it hard, you know? What are you going to flaunt when you have to give back your Lambo? It's like, you know? And then Gerard Adams just posted something this week and said, pay attention carefully. And then posted that thing of Gary saying that. So anyways, and I respect Gary's angle at it. He's all about hustle. He's all about hard work. And he's one of the most successful people in the space, if not the most. Well, you can't say the space because it's entrepreneurship. So obviously there's more successful people. But he's one of the top guys. So anyways, I was reading this book, and I'm going to kind of go into story time for a minute here to make a comparison. And the book that I read this book when I was really young. It's called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Jamie Thomas actually posted this exact part of the book like 5 months ago or something.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he posted exactly the story I'm about to tell. So the story goes like this. The author had a son, and the author, he's a very successful, Stephen Covey's a very successful business consultant. Speaker, he had a whole company on time management and effectiveness in business. So he had a son, and this was like, I don't know which kid, it was like, say his 3rd or 4th kid. And his kid was not performing well in school and not performing well in sports. And he was like, him and his wife would try to like, it's okay, you can do it. And eventually it got so frustrating for them that they were like, what is it? Like, what's going wrong here? Like, we're trying to like encourage them. And they took a step back and looked at it, and they both kind of like said, all right, well, how do we really feel about our son? Yeah. And they're like, we're disappointed in him. And then they're like, why are we disappointed? Like, it almost like they like felt bad about it. And they were like, oh crap, our other kids were like, you know, he's known in the community, and his other kids would like do things and everybody would applaud. And they realized we're disappointed because selfishly we're not getting the social mileage out of our son that we were expecting from our other kids. And they were like, okay, we need to reevaluate our motives. And so they started just like loving their son and being like, oh, you fell, huh? Like, that's what happens. Like, oh, you're not doing it in school. It's okay. We love you. And they started just accepting their son for how he was. And what they said is that their intentions were portrayed to their son. He felt it. And then he dives in. Well, to finish that part off, they changed their attitudes and their son felt like genuine love and from their characters. And he started doing really well, like started, flourishing, doing well in school and sports, because he could tell that he like felt the genuine connection and love. So anyways, he draws an analogy with, since the foundation of the United States of America, people have been evaluating success material and how to live a successful life. It's kind of the foundation of the United States of America. And he said in the beginning, it was more focused on integrity and honesty. But with the birth of kind of television and radio, it turned more from the character ethic, into a personality thing, where people were on television trying to get you to buy something and think positive, come to my seminar, and it turned from a character thing into a personality thing. And so his whole push, he's passed away now, but his whole push was about building character and truly like engaging and accepting people and building character, not this positive mental attitude type thing where you're almost trying to manipulate people into doing what you want to do. And when I read that, it kind of hit me. The content that you see right now being pushed, a lot of it resembles that same like original lifestyles of the rich and famous. It's almost mirrored, except instead of being on television, it's on social media. Mm-hmm. And when I saw that, I was like, damn, that's a crazy analogy, because that is what's going on right now. Like when I see these ads, I feel manipulated most of the time. I feel like there's like hidden facts. So anyways, let's talk about the good life and what that is. And also in this episode, we are dropping our merch, which is at goodtimes.com. It's goodxtimes.com. So you can check that out. Our new site's live. We have merch on there. So let's talk about the good life, Mikey. What is the good life for you? And we're going to dive into specifics here.
The good life to me has always been just being able to make choices without being able to, it's I don't want to say freedom because everybody says that, but for me, it was always just not being blocked by finances. Mm-hmm. was the good life for me. Just being able to have options to do things that I want to do and not letting something like money stop me from doing them. That's all I ever wanted. That was like the good life to me. And that mixed with like I want to spend time with my family. I want to go on vacation with my family. If we want to go somewhere, I don't want to think twice on how I have to get there. I just want to be able to go and do it. That was always like the good life for me. Like I never needed like crazy cars, never needed this huge house. I just wanted to be able to do fun things at will.
So let's kind of, and people may not know this, our mission is good wealth, good health, good love, good legacy, good life, and good times. So let's talk about good wealth for a minute. Let's talk about good wealth, and let's specifically talk about your car and your house. You very easily could have gone out and got a huge house in the past, especially when you're skating at the peak of it. Mm-hmm. And you definitely could have done that. And not that you have a very nice house. Like you guys just redid the whole thing. Like your house is super nice. Your backyard's like a...
No, but it's modest for... It's not... It's...
You could have a big mansion. So let's talk about it though. And another thing too is like I've never, like with you, okay, so you drove the 95 Civic?
Well, I had a handful of them.
What one was it? The hatchback, the white one.
The white one was a 90. The white one was a 94.
94.
92. We're getting real specific. 92 to 95 Civic hatchbacks were all the same.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like trying to figure out what the exact year was.
See, and to me, this is a perfect example because it wasn't just like, oh, I have a Civic hatchback and I'm okay. You like fixed them up, raced them. Like it was like a whole like you loved doing it thing. So it was kind of the work and what you were doing as a part of it. It wasn't just like you had that car and you were okay with it, which you were, but it was more like everything you did behind it. And there was a whole scene behind it and everything. But anyways, when I see you want to get something, like you're going to get it, right? So at one point you're like, I'm getting a Tesla. And I was like, damn, you're going to fork out the money? Like you're going to do it? And then you're like, oh, I don't know. And for a while I didn't think you were going to do it. What's the Tesla brand new right now? I think it's like 120 to 180.
For a new one?
Yeah.
For Model S?
Yeah.
I think it's 70 to 140.
Is it that low?
70 to 140, yeah. You can get like the base on the S. It used to be a 70D. Maybe it's an 85D, but I think it starts at 70.
70? Okay, that's right. Because I went through Mike Mo, like the full process with Mike Mo when he got his.
Michael got he got a 70D, but he started putting, those things are crazy, man. You put like a couple things in it and
that's what I was gonna say. It started
grand.
at 70, but he's like, you can't do it and be happy without spending at least 90. That's what Mike Mo said.
Yeah.
So anyways, how much did you buy yours for?
I know where you're going with this. I'm gonna say this. The reason why I didn't spend money throughout my career was a different reason to why I don't spend money now. It's changed. The beginning of my career was 100% based on fear. I didn't know what was to come, so it felt crazy to me to spend everything I made.
Yeah,
was one part of it. Two, I always saw how people treated my friends differently, and I never wanted to be treated based on being someone. I wanted to be treated based on who I was as a person. So I never wanted people to think I had a ton of money. I was like the idea of like the guy who drives a truck who's a billionaire that no one knows about. I always loved that. So like that was like the first half of my career. Now, having made money, I just understand what money is and the fact that it did nothing for me, like personally, like with my self-esteem. And so it's easier to spend money. I spend money on things that like I want or I think will be fun, not to fill some type of void. So when it comes to cars are a shitty investment. They're terrible.
Yep.
So I wanted a Tesla because I think Tesla's amazing, but I couldn't swallow the fact that like it was that expensive or I was gonna buy a new one and it was gonna drop 30 grand just driving off the lot, whatever it is. So I just waited until I got a deal that like was too good to be true. And then I found it and then I got it. I waited 2 years though to find that deal.
Yeah.
I'm cheap, dude. Like when you really break it down, I'm kind of a cheapskate.
Well, dude, and you bought the original model and you bought it used. But I mean, the body style hasn't changed still. Very, it hasn't. Like the Range Rover, I think in like 2008, totally different car.
Yeah, no, they changed the
2012.
Yeah, on the Teslas, they changed the front bumper, I think at the 2017 year.
Yeah.
I think mine's the 2014.
But you got it. You very easily could have probably forked out 120 grand.
Yeah, I got it for more than half of that. I got it for less than half of that.
Half of that. Okay, so there's one point. Now let's talk about the house, okay?
Yeah.
The GOODxLife, man. You go over there, Jen's there, the girls are there, super nice house. We've had 8 Christmas parties there.
Yeah.
Is it 8 or 9 or 10 now? What is it?
Dude, I don't know. I think it could be, no, I think it's 7. Because I don't think we had a Christmas party before we got married.
Okay, so 7. It's at least 7, right?
Yeah.
7 Christmas parties there. Your wife lives right next door to her best friend. I mean, you guys have a cool thing going. Like, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so the house. When did you buy your house and how much for?
I bought it 14 years ago, and I bought it for $575.
And 2 years later, what was it worth?
$400. Just like that. Yeah.
So our house is a good investment.
Ugh.
I know there's so many different.
Yeah. So if Jen listens to this podcast, she's not going to be stoked because she gets really mad when I talk about homes. I do not.
Why does she get mad?
Because she's sick of hearing me talk about how a home is a bad investment, how you should never look at your home as an investment. So whenever she look, this is my I tell you, this is my gift and a curse, right? I look at everything as an investment, every single thing, to a flaw. So we look at the house, and Jen wants to remodel it right now. She wants to do a new kitchen and do the bathrooms and blah blah blah. And I look at it and go, I am never gonna see those dollars out. I'm gonna put that much money in, we're never gonna see that back. So why would we put that money in, right?
Yeah.
And her argument is, it's our home. I wanna love where I live. This is who we are. And I'm looking at going, but why would we ever put that much money? We're gonna outprice the house. Why would you spend them? It'd be better to sell it and go get a different house. So look, personally, I don't think you should look at your primary residence as an investment. I don't think you should.
Okay.
I think it's unhealthy. I don't think you can make money buying a house, but it's not the same. It's not the same as an investment, as a rental property.
So let me ask you this, and I've never asked you this before. Because the only thing I could see you, because you like cool spaces, you like cool look and aesthetic for content. Could you ever see yourself getting a house for content?
I mean, dude, it's
Jen.
Gosh,
here's your in.
Well, dude, it's a crazy world we live in, man. No, I don't know. I have a hard time right now with it. It's like what we talked about in the beginning. I have a hard time with how fake everything is. But I understand how it works. So it's like I'm constantly trying to find the balance to where I'm doing this as real to myself as possible, and I still want it to look cool, but that's not the driving force behind it.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope. So I don't know. I think tell you the truth, if we got a cool house, or if we built a house or designed it, I'd probably want it to be more for Jen stuff, because Jen's an interior designer. I think there'd be a really good process to building that she could create all the content for that could help her brand.
Yeah.
100%. For me, it's I don't know. Dude, it's the harsh reality of where we live. It's dude, do people come to my house if I have a $2 or $3 million house and go, God, Mikey's crushing it. This real estate shit is on fire. I should invest with him. There's probably a lot of people that will do that.
Yeah.
It's the fault of who we are as people. But it's it's a game that I don't want to play. I don't know if you have to play the game to change the game. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out now.
It's funny though, because you think about pro skateboarding, and there's no reason to have you selling products as a pro skateboarder has nothing to do with what car you drive. I don't think. Do you? When you were pro skateboarding,
no,
people didn't look at your car and
pro skateboarders are different.
Yeah.
Yeah, pro skateboarders are totally different because it's very easy to know that they're not they're the person being contracted out.
Yeah.
They're not the boss in a sense, unless it's their own company. For what we're talking about, it's there's people are buying into you being knowledgeable or successful.
Yeah.
Right? It's why a lot of these people drive around the cars they do. Because the kid who goes, whoa, dude, Eric Bork is driving a Lambo and is kicked up in this pad, and he's doing social media marketing. So if I buy that, I get to have that house. That's why people are doing this, because it's easy to manipulate the consumer, right? Yep. And honestly, in my world now, you can kind of compare the two. It's we have a real estate fund. If people see me driving around in a Bentley and they come to my house, it's this huge house, they're going to assume that our fund is crushing it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now how my fund is right now, and if I were to live in that big of a house and car, same returns. Same returns, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's it goes deeper to it goes deeper to I think greed and insecurity and us as a society and what we're told,
So let's talk about, because I'm sure some people are listening going yeah, but that would be really cool to have.
Yeah, so that's the thing. look, for people that have that, I'm not against it. Like, yo, you want to go like ball out and get a crib and you have the money for it? Fine. The problem is that people spend everything they have to be able to post up in that house to make it seem like they're rich. My whole thing is like, dude, just actually be rich and then live in the house. Don't fool people into it. I don't like the fake it till you make it.
I do not like that.
Right? So the people out there, like, look, you got a $2 million house, you're grossing, you know, 6, 7, 800 grand a year. You got all this saved, fine. Do it. But like, dude, the guy who's like making 200,
so
250, and he's spending everything he has paycheck to paycheck, that's not the model I believe in. You know me, dude. I believe in living under your means to maximize the amount of money you can invest in stuff. I don't believe in spending every dollar I have to look rich.
100%, dude. And I'm going to throw this out there. It's funny, dude, because if there's anybody who could be flaunting, Gary Vee could totally be flaunting, but he doesn't do it. He doesn't flaunt the jets. He is married, never puts his wife or kids on social media. And no jets, no cars. And like people ask him like, okay, you hate on cars. Like, what about like Andy Frisella? He's like, dude, Andy loves cars. I heard him say it. He's like, he loves his cars. Like, there's nothing wrong with that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's not like, and we're not saying either, we're not hating on anybody that has a Lambo, but I think the good life is different for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's funny because like, we used to say this as kids, and I remember like you saying it, and you're like, when I first started hanging out with you, you'd be like, let's live the good life. And I would be like, that's funny, man, because like I used to like read these books about the good life, and like, my books were, it was actually Stephen Covey, Body, Mind, Heart, Spirit, which is...
Yes, Kevion loves that book, huh?
Yeah, Kevion. I don't know. I've never heard Kevion. Does he?
I thought so. He's always talking about...
He talks about 7 equities. I don't know if he talks about 7 habits.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what... We birthed an idea. We did a podcast called Money and Skateboarding. And what we did is, most of the people that listen regularly, we talked about... let's just talk about skateboarding and money. And we did it. And it's funny because it got more views and listens than a lot of our episodes, like without a big guest. Whenever we have a big guest, views, listens go up. But it's crazy because so many people were like you read the comments on YouTube, they're like, this is the best. Thank you for talking about. So that kind of birthed the idea of like, let's start talking about cars. Let's start talking about houses. Start talking about what's behind it.
Yeah, and I think it's important to include talking about money.
It's
like, dude, nobody talks about money. It's like such this like uncomfortable thing.
Dude, 100%.
And what it's left with is all these people not knowing how to make or use or what money is. It's like,
dude,
it's terrible.
100%, man. And that's where like you look at it, and someone that's like coming into money could go like, well, I could go out and get this car. I have the credit, I have enough monthly income without thinking like that income, like I could go out and do that. So I think it's important to talk about like, okay, someone drives this car. What did they drive when they were a kid? What did they drive when they were coming up? When did they step into this car? Did they buy it or lease it? I've said this like 50 times, but my brother sells cars to every celebrity in Hollywood.
Do you buy or lease?
I lease. But every celebrity in Hollywood leases their cars. Yeah. And you see people go on Ty Lopez, you rented this car? He's like, yeah. Everybody you know rents their cars. They all lease them. It's terrible, and it depreciates instantly. And then it keeps depreciating. You never get your money back. You can sell it for less. It starts breaking down. So there's no point.
So for everyone listening, there's a very easy solution to know if you should buy or lease. If you're going to own a car for 8, 10 plus years, buy it.
Or more, yeah. Yep.
If you're going to sell a car within 1 to 6 years, lease it. Because it doesn't make sense to buy a car unless you're going to participate in not having a car payment for a long time.
Totally.
So it's an easy way to figure that out.
It's super easy. And if you're going to lease, you're going to pay less. For me, the main reason is like once you get to the point of and I watched my family. We were very poor when I was younger. My parents do good now, but when I was younger, we were very poor, and they would always go like, oh, we don't have enough. We have to go like get this old car. And then the old car would break down. And then after it would break down, they would put like $5,000 into it. It's like that $5,000 could have leased your car for 10 months. What? And I remember being like, I hate Fords. I want to break their window, because they would break down every single time. This is back when they were really bad. So yeah, if you're going to keep a car until it gets to the point of repair and then sell it, lease it. There's no point in buying it. Totally. And also, like, it's crazy, man. Like, I see some people with the craziest lease payments, driving really nice cars. And it's like a status thing, and it's like their whole payment's going towards that car that could be going towards other stuff. So I think it's important, just like the money and skateboarding concept, where we go into detail about, okay, if you want to be a pro skateboarder, it looks like this, 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 and this. And dude, you know you're weird, right?
What?
You know you're weird, right? Like, as kids, none of us thought this. You were the only one that was like, guys, I'm gonna run out of money. We were like, Mikey, what are you talking about? We're gonna run out of money. We're all gonna be rich forever.
Yeah, I know.
And then reality sets in.
Well, yeah, totally. Dude, I was just scared. That's all. I was just scared shitless. That's it, dude. I wasn't a genius. I was just scared.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let's talk about the good life. I'm gonna kind of like run through, to me, what the good life is. And I'm gonna preface it with this. You could have the biggest mansion. You could have all the cars, which I've had a smaller version of this. I had my own house. I had a job, like the old American dream. I was so miserable because I was married to the wrong person. And you can have all of these things and be living a terrible, terrible life. Like, the things are not going to bring you happiness. They can be a byproduct that you add on top if you're into them, right? If you're into fast cars, like, they can be fun if you can afford them. My brother has 2 really nice cars. You know, he has a Jag and a Range Rover. But anyways, what I'm getting at is this. The things don't make the good life. Like, the things don't. Now, the money does allow you to travel. It allows you to travel. It allows people to travel, to do more things. So let's kind of break down what the good life is for you and for me, and I'll kind of start. For me, I actually, down the road, it's so funny because I just don't care about where I live. I just want it to be nice. Mm-hmm. So I just want a nice place. I don't like old places. I like new, modern, nice places. I think I've told you this before. I love, like, modern design.
Yeah, I know you do, yeah.
That would be something that I think down the road that I'll be, once I get out of, like, or master the digital space, which I'm still in the process of mastering, I think that's something that I'll, like, get into down the road. So when you said Jen likes that, I kind of, like, relate to it. But anyways, I just like nice environments. For me, my environment hoarders is my worst nightmare. So there's something about nice things that's, like, calming and soothing and relaxing to me. So I need a nice place to live. It doesn't have to be the biggest. It doesn't have to be, like, the craziest mansion. I just need somewhere really nice that's clean and organized, that I enjoy living there. The next part is the relationship that I'm in, the friendship. And for me, it's Olivia. We've been together for 8 years now. Dude, I've dated I used to bring girls to your house.
I've seen them all, dude. Seen them all. Olivia's the only cool one.
I would bring girls over to Mikey and Jen, and they would just be like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we'll hang out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would say my relationship with Olivia is, like, one of the greatest sources of happiness in my life. That's, like, definitely one of my favorite things. One of my favorite parts of life. Good love. So, good wealth. Let me take a step back. I think it's very important on how you earn your money. I think that's a really critical part of having a good life. Like, and we talked about this a little bit before, so we won't go in too much. But my thing is, I love digital. I love making money digitally. So my thing is 3Com. A digital agent, in my opinion, these are the best ways to make money. Digital agency, digital products, and e-commerce. I think those are amazing ways to make money. Okay, let's kind of bounce back and forth. The good life for you, what does that look like?
The good life for me looks like spending time with my family and friends and feeling accomplished throughout my day.
What are some things you do that actually illustrate that? For example, yesterday you went golfing with Ben times 10.
Yeah.
You guys had a good time on the golf course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of the good life, right? Golfing.
Yeah. So Jen and I went to Shaver Lake for the weekend. Mm-hmm. Went snowboarding. Just being able to do stuff like that. Yep. Taking the day off and golfing with friends. Skating. But I need I personally need the accomplishment as well. Mm-hmm. Like I need to feel like dude, I'll have days working where like I don't do any of that. Mm-hmm. And like I feel proud of myself and fulfilled that like I was able to accomplish what I was trying to do.
Yep.
So I need that aspect. I need kind of the ability to travel with my family, hang out with friends. I just don't like being told no. So like when I want to do stuff, I want to be able to do it. So that's like really what the good life is for me, is being able to have all these things in my life that I really enjoy and value, and then being able to partake in activities without not being able to afford them.
And I think a lot of it is, and this is kind of why we've latched on to the slogan "Good Times," is that, I mean, let's remember some good times. Like, you were a pro skateboarder for 15 years. What were some of like the good times in pro skateboarding? There was the era where before you and Jen, where it was lots of friends.
Yeah.
And like your bachelor party.
Yeah.
Dude, that was one of the funnest times ever, man. Me and Malto, and I think did you have to pay for those bikes?
What bikes?
So one of my favorite good times is me and Malto and Sam.
Oh, you drove him into the water.
And Blake. I
didn't have to pay for him.
You didn't have.
No.
We took the bikes. We went for a ride. It was Newport Beach for Mikey's bachelor party, and we rode the bikes into the ocean as far as we tried to see who would win.
It was like 1 a.m.
It was like 1 a.m. We stole the bikes from the bachelor party. We drove the bikes. We were like, all right, race. And we were like, who can get the furthest? We rode the bikes as far as we could. I think we got like up to like our chest and then fell over. That was a good time.
Yeah.
But I mean, skateboarding though, like, dude, you traveled. Where'd you go? You went.
I went everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it did just change. It was like a lot of it was like, in the beginning, it was just fun. It was the experience.
Yeah.
And I get to do what I love with my friends and see the world. And then as I got older, just started taking on new, I guess, things. Like I started needing more out of it, to tell you the truth. Like, and I think that's where like the accomplishment like came in. Like, I need to feel like I have a goal and I'm making steps to that goal. And that's the part that like, dude, it's like, Eminem had some like rap verse where he's like sitting on a treadmill and like the carrot's in front of him dangling, he can never reach it or something, right? Like as awful as that sounds, I love it. Like, I don't care if I never get to like my goal. I love the every day making steps to it. So if I can stay in that, that's the good life to me, man.
Okay, I got an example for you. So anybody that's listening that witnessed this era of skateboarding, you're gonna appreciate this. And for you, the first part of this was we had a great time. But it sucks because the latter part of it was when you were going through the whole dilemma with DC and everything. But remember back when Beebles was first popping off. Mm-hmm. Dude, those were some of the best times. Those were such good times. We would wake up, it would be like group text. I'm just trying to think like a couple. Wake up, group text, you'd be like, Guy, Reynolds, you, Paul, like we're going, like Beeble, of course. And like we'd roll to the park, throw open the door, get there at like 11 in the morning, everybody shows up, gallons of water, and we would just destroy all day. Go home, film a video, put it up on YouTube. Those were some good times, dude. But it's like, is that glamorous, Is that like the Yeah, like some people had like Mercedes parked out front, but it wasn't about that. It was about like the work that went into it, So I guess what I'm trying to do here is dive a little bit past like the shiny objects, right? Dive into like what are the things, the mechanics
actually make you happy.
That actually and to me it's a sense of like hard work and fulfillment, and at the same time doing the work. Like, this might sound crazy, but one of my favorite things, like last week I built our new Shopify store in one day. Dude, I had so much fun. I built it, like designed it. added the product to it. Mike Mo loves doing this too, right? To me, that's fun and fulfilling. I love doing it. I'm an extrovert, so I need to be around people. So there's obviously other things that need to, happen also. But to me, those are like some of the parts that go into the good life and like what you're doing. So those are a few examples I have. What does the long-term good life look like for you?
Long-term good life? Oh man. I think probably like starting something just for like the fun of it with Jen. I think it's super long-term. I think we do something together that's like not on this like aggressive path to like change the world. Maybe it's just like, I could see us like, doing like designing homes together, or like designing like a little boutique hotel or something that's like we just enjoy, that's not so like where I'm not trying to like have this huge cause. Like when you're doing something for a reason, there's a lot of stress that goes into that. There's a lot on your shoulders. I think probably like good life to me would just be like, I have my kids, they're doing well. My wife and I have this like project that like makes us happy, and we're not really concerned about like cracking off.
Yeah, it's funny because like the big house, the appeal to me is like the design of it, it's the look of it. Yeah, so when you say that, I totally relate to it. Like, do I need like a giant mansion? No, but would I
look cool looking stuff? Look, I'm real big on aesthetic. I love when things look cool. It's just I just want it done. I just like doing it in a classy way.
Yeah.
I just don't like the the showing off.
Yep. So eventually, one thing, and I'll say this with like we're probably doing this. One thing I want to do is create like a system for people to download to like design their dream life, because I'm doing mine, and I'm really curious to know like what are the things for people listening, and if you're on YouTube, you can comment. Like, what are the long-term visions that you have for life? I'll tell you right now, there's a couple things for me long-term. One, I want all my food delivered to my door and cooked for me.
I should have told you that, man. I want a chef.
I spend so much time with food. Yeah. It takes away so much of my life that like, if that's a luxury, that's for me, that's a good life.
Yeah.
That's one thing for me. No, I'm not so much like the cars. It's not like, I'm not really a car guy.
Yeah.
I think like I'll be happy with a Tesla. I think that's what I'll want. But for me, it's based around work and lifestyle and like what I want to do. I think like my dream life is to live on a resort and work all day. That's like what like I would want to work all day around people, in an environment that had like a hotel or resort style feel to it. That's like my version of the good life. Anything else you could think of for you long term?
Long term, I could see myself like trying to do more like with the community. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like this whole thing with like the fires and then this like group that like came to our neighborhood and like, I don't know, maybe like later on, it's like, I don't want to say get into politics, but like maybe it's something that's like more focused at like giving back to like the place I actually live in. And maybe I do become a politician, man. Maybe that's a self-limiting belief, and maybe I make a run at it. I don't know. I got the smile for it, right?
You know what the best response was? They asked like after her speech at where was I remember. They asked like everyone's like, "Oh, Brad's gonna run for president," and she was like, "I'm not running for president." Like, dude, running for president?
I'm not gonna run for president.
No, I'm just saying, like, you get tore up in politics.
Yeah,
man.
and I would get torn up. Are you kidding me? My whole past is public. Like, everything about me. You go all the way back.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway,
like 215 FI cards. I got busted. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's simple for me. It's like, you know, long term. Like, I want my relationship with my wife to be like even stronger than it is, and then on. I want to have a great relationship with my kids. want my kids to be succeeding in whatever aspect of life they want to succeed. I want to feel fulfilled and that I did something meaningful. You know?
Yep.
Politics, I think that's what it is.
Are you serious?
No, I don't know. Who knows?
Have you seriously ever thought about politics?
One time.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
Yeah, one time, like, dude, this is probably like 6 months ago. Because our pastor at our church is the mayor of Thousand Oaks.
Yeah.
And like he said something one Sunday, he was like, you know, something along the lines of like, look, if you don't like something, don't complain about it. Go out and be a part of it and change it. And I was just like joking with Jen. I was like, I wonder if I could like do something like, you know.
Political?
Yeah. And she was like, you'd probably be good at it. And then I don't know if I like actually enjoyed the idea of being a politician or just, you know, became obsessed with I could be good at it. egotistical as that is.
Do you have anyone that you think right now, like you really look up to that you feel like has like the good life? I have one of my favorite examples is Tony Robbins, dude.
Yeah.
Have you seen his island?
No.
Yeah,
I've heard about that.
He's got an island. There's a video of it.
What's he worth these days?
I don't know, but to me, he's all about like the events, right? He's all about like, you look, his wife. To me, he's one person that just like captures the good life. Like I really like what he stands for and just like what he does on a daily basis. He's one person that I like really look up to, or like I like his lifestyle. Do you have anyone else you can think of?
Oh man,
I know I'm putting you on the spot. We didn't talk about this.
Yeah,
before.
I bet you I'm going to think of some. I can't think of any right now.
To me, I look at the ones that I look at that I really like is Tony Robbins. I really like Gary Vee. Gary Vee, to me, I relate, and I follow Gary Vee forever, but he has this huge business. It's not all about like the flaunt. He's all about the work, and that's like what he, does. And some people give him crap because he's like too much about it. Like, when do you spend time with your kids? And he's starting to respond to it.
Yeah, that's it's hard because the people that I look up to in the business world, I do not look up to in their personal life.
That's
and vice versa a lot of times.
Yep.
So I'm not saying it's not that it doesn't exist, but like the people that we see doing it, they're just bad examples.
Yeah.
I don't want to create this huge like real estate fund and like have my marriage fall apart.
Yeah.
I want to have it all, and I know there's people doing it that aren't like on this social media kick that we're on, but other than that, I can't think of like a public person right now.
Yeah, those are kind of the two that I really like is Tony Robbins and Gary Vee. And I'm sure I should have prefaced that before because I didn't ask you before to give you a heads up, but those are two that I really like. But yeah, so anybody listening, what is your version of the good life? Write it down. I'm reluctant to share mine.
Why? Share it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, why not?
Okay. So in 5 years, I have the house, like the exact house I want. Like the exact house.
Oh, you have it mapped out already.
I have every component. Like I've said this before, I have a day in the life.
That's always been the biggest difference between you and I. You've always had it you've always had like an actual like vision, plan, and known what it was.
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. I have a picture of the house and it's beautiful. Like I want to build it. Like I have the exact house. Cars, I just want like nice ones. Like I'm totally good with what I have now. I don't need cars. But to me, it's more like what I do. It's the office. I have the full office mapped out. Obviously, it's like predicated on like we keep growing and growing as we plan. But it's really it's the environment that I'm in every day. And then also on top of that, it's the events. It's the events that we do. Because for me, it's working with people. Like I'm not a lone wolf. I can't do it. I have to be around people and I have to be progressing. It's funny because that's why Beebles, that 2000 summer 16, I think it was. Summer 16 was like so much fun to me because it was like, we're doing this together, meet up, attack, go, like, yeah, high fives. It was 15?
15 and 16 were the big ones.
Yeah. Because it was like hard work. We worked hard. We would go home and be dead, but it was so much fun, so much work, make a video, like that environment. So now I'm recreating what we did in skating in business. It's kind of like that's what we're doing in business, recreating that like camaraderie and brotherhood. I shouldn't say brotherhood because it could also be sisterhood. What do you call that when it's, I guess, camaraderie, when it's boys and girls?
Yeah.
Camaraderie. Yeah. That synergy and like excitement in the work environment. So that's the 5-year plan. The 10-year plan involves like resort lifestyle, but work integrated into that. And it's funny, man. I don't like going into like the details of like the day in the life. It's not that I doubt it. It's just like, it's like a big vision. You
should go try and film that one day. Like try to like mock up or create an actual video of your dream life.
That would be so. Let's go. Yeah. Pelican Hill. If anybody's ever been there, it looks just like Pelican. Very similar to. You ever been to Pelican Hill?
No, Ben wanted me to go golf there yesterday.
Oh, dude, it's so tight.
Yeah.
So yeah, me and Olivia stayed there. It's like, I think it's like $600 a night. It's like, they have like villas. Well, that's like the lowest.
Oh.
The lowest is like.
Big dog over here trying to.
They got like a Coliseum pool. It's insane. So anyways, so that's kind of, we've birthed this direction of digging into the actual mechanics. When should you buy a house? When should you buy a car? What does like a happy relationship look like? Diving into the mechanics of that. And of course, wealth. Good ways to earn wealth. Again, for me, it's agency, digital product, and e-commerce. Those are like the ways that I'm in love with, that give me the freedom. And I don't care how cliche that sounds. I love the freedom. I love it. I love being able to wake up, work out whenever I want. I love that. For you,
what ways to make money? We talked about this last time, man. Real estate, baby.
Real estate.
Jump in.
Investing.
I like syndicate. Yeah, I like syndicating apartment buildings.
Yep. Okay.
So I like.
So, man, I don't know. It's funny. Do you have like a life designed out for your good life?
No. No. I don't have it mapped out.
It's so interesting, man, because we're so different in that regard. So what does like planning look like for you?
What regard?
Life planning.
Oh man. You know what's funny? My life planning is usually the thing that's not planned for. It's usually like, like being truthful. It's usually, it was my career in skating that I had like a goal. And now I have a goal with my companies. Those are like the goals. And then like, you know, with myself, I feel like I'm changing so much that like, it's hard to know, like I'm so different now than I was 2 years ago. So like, if I put this like, okay, where my life's gonna be in 2 years, I don't even think it'd be the same desire now. So I don't think I'm like, I just don't build it out like that for my life.
What about with Jen? Like
With our relationship?
No, not your relationship. I mean, it could be, but like, do you and Jen have any long-term things that you both want to do together?
As far as like a business or like a relationship? Life?
It could be business. It could be.
I mean, our standing goal right now is to have 4 kids.
2 more on the way?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's right. One. You know, we have like things we want to like travel to. But for us, it's more about like, I mean, dude, we have kids that are young. So like a lot of it feels like it's just complete chaos all the time.
For sure.
You know, and so we spend a lot of time just like working on our relationship and our marriage. And we have goals of like where that is going to be.
And she also just started her new thing,
which is
very kinshipcultivated.com and at kinship cultivated. I'm so stoked they're doing that, man.
Yeah, she's stoked.
And it's really cool.
She's really stoked too to have like an outlet, and they're already doing like a lot of. I'm like, they're going at a way faster pace than I thought they were going to go. And even they're doing some things I'm like fully like jealous about. Like, wait, what? I'm gonna take that idea.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, but like, no, like we don't, like, I'm not it's funny. We're different in the sense of like, you're such the dreamer, right? You've always been a dreamer. I never felt like that. So like, there's a lot of times that like, maybe it's just, I don't have the capacity for it, or I'm just not built like that. But like, I don't like think, oh my gosh, I could be this, and it's just not how I work.
You know what's weird, man, is you know what it comes back to for me? It comes back to skateboarding. And for me, that's how I approach skateboarding, is I looked at when I was young, like, okay, I want to be a good skateboarder. How do I do that? And then I looked at like, okay, the best guys, they have video parts. And so I'd pick a song, and then I would listen to the song, and I would be like, this is where the rail trick's gonna go. This is where the stair trick is gonna go. This is where the bail's gonna go. And I would start like filling it in.
Yeah.
And I did it twice. I did 2 video parts, and like those, and then the hard part though is there's like 2 video parts for songs that I didn't do because I had like the song picked out. I think the 2 best songs for skate parts would have been Crazy on You, which Huff actually ended up using, and also Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin. I think that would be the most epic skate part. So that's kind of how I planned skating, is like, I'm gonna film this part.
Yeah,
like I didn't care who I rode for.
I never did that.
Yeah, you didn't. What was your approach?
To video parts?
Maybe this will help clarify your approach to planning. Yeah,
with
because
video
you
parts?
knew you had to have video parts.
Yeah, I just thought every single day a lot of it is I didn't like planning a trick before I did it. I liked going to a spot.
Really?
Yeah, because I used to get nervous and scared. I'd spend so much time building it up in my head that I'd make it out to be bigger than it was. So I liked going to a spot with no idea, getting there and having to figure out what trick to do, and then doing the trick.
Oh my gosh.
So I just made it so it was like, hey dude, put me at a new spot every single day I skate, or something like that. You know, because I always struggled when I'd try a trick and wouldn't land it and knew I had to go back. And then I spent so much time thinking, oh my, what's it gonna be like now when I go back? And I didn't like that.
Dude, I remember one time there was a 21 stair rail. It was this steep, and I was with like the Santa Cruz team, and I was gonna nollie 50 it. And like, if I would have not landed on the rail, I would have died. And I was like, dude, guys, I gotta come back. I remember someone's like, you always wanna come back. I'm like, dude, it's a 20 stair like mountain that I could foot plant on and die. Like, come on. Like, so I understand what you're saying. But for me, you saw me as like, I'm gonna cricket grind at 26. I went and bought and built the rail at the barracks, and did it 1,000 times.
Yeah, and it's funny. There's so many similarities of how we used to skate and now how we are in business. Like, you would think of like, okay, what can I do that's going to make this splash and get people talking about me, and I'll be this thing, and it's going to take me to this level. And then you think about what that's going to be, you prepare for it, and then go do it. My career was not that calculated.
That was my exact approach.
Yeah, my career was just like, do as many tricks as possible, always, and just never stop, you know?
It's so funny because that is exactly what I did. That's how I came up. I looked at the
That's
Santa
how
Monica.
you are, dude. Even when we talk about this, like, there's so many ways in business. It's like, okay, what can we put together where it makes this impact? And it's the same way you used to skate, to a T.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah, guys, if you're like me and you have your whole good life planned out, good for you.
Yeah, totally.
So, anyways, this is kind of like. We're working on some new content and everything. Our merch is out. It's GOODxTimes.com. Check that out. That's kind of what me and Mikey have been on, this like 1.5 year path of coming into what AVNI is. And it kind of all started back when you were exiting skateboarding. And I think for us, it's just been so challenging because everybody else has used the same jets and cars and models and like mansions, and like they're just saying, this is what it is. Sign up for my agency and you'll get this. I'm telling you right now, you sign up for Ty Lopez's social media marketing agency, you are probably not gonna buy a Lamborghini. 1% of students are gonna do that and get a Lamborghini. Is it possible? Yeah. But kind of like what we've realized is that it's more for us about like those components: good wealth, good health, good love, good legacy, good life, and good times. And good times, that's what it's always been. And the good times have been us working really hard at something we enjoy and love doing. So good times, goodxtimes.com. We got the merch on there. Check it out. And yeah, we'd love to hear what your good life is, and look forward to content of us like highlighting what our idea of the good life is. So you got anything else to add? I think we're good there. Mm-hmm. All right, that's it. So if you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, go check that out. We get a lot of listens, more listens than watches on YouTube. Steve Weatherford, I listened to your podcast with him. He kept doing stuff like, I'm looking into the camera now. You can only see this on YouTube.
I know.
We'll have to start doing that. So anyways, all right, you guys, that's a wrap, and we'll see you next week.